The international city of Long Beach, California, in cooperation with the Long Beach Yacht Club, initiates the first match race on the West Coast. The first Congressional Cup. The Cup is deeded to the Long Beach Yacht Club by the Congress of the United States, sponsored by Congressman Craig Hosmer and Senator Thomas Kuechel.
You know, every yacht club wants to set themselves aside as being star champions or America's Cup champions. Long Beach Yacht Club developed this match racing regatta.
The America's Cup, the Canada Cup, Salonica Cup, were all two-boat races. We were thinking that it would be nice to have a regatta where there would be 10 contestants and you'd have an overall winner.
You know, originally it was supposed to be the Presidential Cup. Then John F. Kennedy was shot, and when Lyndon Johnson took over, he pulled most of the major military contracts out of California, and that infuriated the Californians, of course. So Bill de Lacy got Congress to agree to make it a Congressional Cup. So it had an unusual beginning.
The tournament ground is the temperamental Pacific Ocean, sometimes bright and gusty, other times weather like today, fog and light breeze. Officials on the committee boat start the first race of the Congressional Cup.
Match racing wasn't a big popular sport. Long Beach really led the way.
We had lots of help. Arthur Knapp was a real pal. Harry Anderson, New York Yacht Club.
Well, my name is BARNEY, FLAM, and my first Congressional Cup experience was in 1965 when I got a call from Don Leadham, who said, "We're putting on a match racing event. We'd like to invite you."
Barney Flam, representing the Santa Monica Yacht Club, has one of his toughest races at the start against the East Coast representative from Larchmont, New York, Arthur Knapp from Sheboygan. Flam, a well-known skipper on the West Coast, is racing the skipper of the America's Cup Weatherby.
We had a number of Cal 40 owners that were interested. As a result, we decided to use the Cal 40s.
In those days, the Cal 40 was a new boat, and they tried to have one representative from each yacht club. It was quite informal.
The early years, the crews seemed to be more interested in getting to beat each other and pulling shenanigans on each other and things of that sort.
Jerry Driscoll sets the crew to work. The Blue Marlin seems sluggish, something dragging. They put a man over, but it's too late. The first start is coming up. They settle down.
They used to have us racing from the 10-minute gun. You would have two competing teams in the starting area at the same time. So it got to where people were maneuvering for position maybe 20 minutes before your start. And of course, the crews got pretty tired.
Willis Boyd comments on his boat.
I believe my boat is one of the heaviest in the group, as I have the only raised deck and I have quite a bit of equipment aboard.
At that point in time, we took the position that anything you could do to make the boat go faster was okay.
They had different sails, they had different weights, different options on the boat, and they weren't equal.
And as a result, Jerry Driscoll from San Diego was in a position to make a very, very fast Cal 40.
Jerry Driscoll won the first two Congressional Cups without losing a race.
I remember way back, Barney Flam was the guy we took out on the very first Catamount 38s. And 10 Long Beach Yacht Club members bought those boats with the condition that they make them available to the club for Con Cup.
When we had the Catalina 38s, we sailed those boats with the bow pulpit and stern pulpit and lifelines, and they overhung the boat, and in the close racing, they would frequently get bent out of shape a bit.
My job, when I was 20-something, was to support this program, be here when they needed spare parts.
Jerry would be down here at 7 o'clock the next morning, and that's maybe an hour and a half drive with whatever parts we needed to put the boats back together to get going.
Bruce Brown was working his way up to become chair, And Reese and I were having lunch upstairs and said, you know, there's got to be a better way to do this than taking privately owned boats. Every year, turn them into one design boats. Just is a struggle. We actually built one prototype boat and brought it down here one year. Tooled the boat, built the boat, launched the boat, brought it down to look at, and a couple of key sailors said, you know, that's close, but it's just not it. So we chucked it and started with a new boat.
As a result of that, he learned what they wanted to do when they built the 37s to make the boat bulletproof.
Yachting has been very good to Catalina Yachts, and I felt that I wanted to do something to show my appreciation from Catalina Yachts. I realized that the Congressional Cup was something of the future, so we designed the 37-footer.
Through the generosity of Mr. Butler, he gave us 11 beautiful yachts to run the event.
They held up well, and they still look very contemporary, even though they're now 20 years old, which I think is a real testament to the design of these boats.
Since we got the 37s, it has been a boat really based upon the talent and expertise of the skipper and crew rather than the design of the boat.
Finally, I started getting more talented people.
Well, one of the great things about the Congressional Cup, of course you want to perform well on the water, but it's essential if you're a skipper to have a really good speech at the dinner.
Good evening again, everyone. It's great to be invited back again this year. I enjoyed myself so much 2 years ago that in the last 2 years I spent about 18 months in the United States, so I'm kind of getting happier and happier. I'm thrilled to be here. The Long Beach Yacht Club has done such a terrific job with this event over the years.
It's great. I really came back. I was surprised by the invitation because I haven't been very active lately, and this is really a top-notch league for America's Cup or Australia Cup hopefuls, and I'm kind of a has-been. But it's better to be a has-been than it never was. And one good thing about the Congressional Cup is nobody from overseas has ever won it yet, and even if they do, they're not going to be able to take it home.
A couple days ago, I had lunch with Ted Turner, and that was the good news. The bad news is, you know, that some of the people here really know how to sail, and they're at the top of the sport. And I understand that, you know, Harold Cudmore is one of the best paid professionals, and he makes $100 for an event like this.
Dennis was worried about the age problem, but Dennis, don't worry. Ted and you and I don't look so bad when we compare ourselves with a jury. As Dennis said, there's no free lunches. I'm about to pay for that one.
Now, you're one of the judges. What do the judges do here at Congressional Cup? You're out on the water, I think, in the judges' boat. What do you look at out there?
Well, Phil, the one thing that we're looking for is to see that the committee is doing the job that it should be doing. And the principal thing that the judges are involved with is to see that every competitor gets a fair break.
There's a collision right there. Boats touched, and Cudmore's pointing again to his protest flag and saying, I'm doing it again.
Prior to umpiring, we would have these god-awful protests, and there'd be arguments. And I'll never forget one year, I think Dennis Conner had 4 or 5 protests against Ted Turner in the same race. And these protests went on for hours and hours. And at the end, in the men's room, Turner and Conner had some very sharp words exchanged with each other.
And the two of them go out, and Arthur Knapp on the committee goes out. Well, Arthur comes back in, and we said, Arthur, what did you do? He said, I grabbed them both by the scruff of the neck, banged their heads together, and said, any more of this, and we're going to throw you out of the series.
And watching that, and having been on one of the boats, I realized that this is flawed, and the press is there, it's no good. What we need are umpires, just like we have in any other sport. And the Long Beach Yacht Club was one of the first to get umpiring going in a formal way that actually counted. And that was so successful that when Tom Eamon became the executive director of the America's Cup for the '92 Cup match, they instituted umpiring for the America's Cup, and it was a real breakthrough, and it made for instant justice because we didn't have to sit through the protest.
Welcome to the Long Beach Yacht Club, home of the FICKER Cup, the all-important qualifying series to determine the final competitor spot available in next week's Congressional Cup, the most prestigious Grade 1 match race in the United States.
The FICKER Cup is a good breeding ground for the younger sailors. And we've seen some pretty good people come up through the ranks.
2 legs later, and the story is still the same. Simone, FERRARESE, and crew have won the FICKER Cup and have earned a spot in the Congressional Cup.
I think one of the nifty things about the Congressional Cup is there's a wide range of ages of people that have actually won that regatta or been in the top 3. So in a nice way, the Congressional Cup connects the generations.
My name's Rod Davis. I've competed both as a skipper and a crew, something in the range of 15 times.
This is Congressional Cup number 13 as a skipper and 15 in total. Yeah, I just can't stay away, I guess.
My name is Steve FLAM. I've done 27 Con Cups, and I've seen the whole evolution of the event.
You know, it's actually, the rest of the sport's kind of evolved around it.
I grew up, reading about Dave Perry and to the Rods and the Dennises and the Turners. It was match racing in this country, so that's pretty nice heritage for that event to have.
The Congressional Cup was the king of all the match racing events. It always has been.
Back then we raced offshore. Of course, the racing's back along the pier now, so that's a big difference. And the format's changed. Now we do round robins and then knockouts.
The Catalina 37s were a big step forward. It was very even boats across the field, and the boats were ideally suited for match racing.
It's still 10 great teams. They want to do well, but they also want to make sure they respect the Congressional Cup.
As I got into match racing, Con Cup always stood out there as one of those famous ones I'd heard about. So to actually go out there and finally win it was pretty special.
Fortunate enough to win the Congressional Cup twice, 2 of the biggest boats in my sailing career.
Winning is special, and getting to go to the dinner and getting your crimson blazer was something I always remember.
It has all come down to this, the final match here in the Congressional Cup.
So the finals the year that I won was really unusual. I'm sure there's not another one like it.
This match is getting closer and closer. Law keeps tacking just in front.
Yeah, a couple of years ago we had a great race with Dean Barker and his guys.
The last time these two faced each other in the finals of a match race, it was the America's Cup. Coots went on to win. This time Barker wants a chance at him.
It was a one-race final because we had run out of time on the last day.
The final leg was going to determine the Congressional Cup.
Led around the top mark and split our spinnaker, and Dennis Durgan passed us down the run.
The wind was, uncharacteristically shifty.
The breeze is shifting 180 degrees. Both spinnakers are collapsing, and we're halfway down the run to the finish.
We were still behind, but those guys turned and sailed off for the big right-hand shift. It wasn't there anymore.
I think there were more black flags thrown in that final maybe than in history.
Unfortunately for us, we couldn't quite get in front in that race, and Dean and his guys won.
So it was obviously very nice to go out and beat Russell in the final. It was Moose's 4th win, and he'd managed to do that in 4 different decades, so it was quite a special moment.
I think it was after the second race, one of the people who were in charge just came up alongside and said, "You do realize you do not have your damage deposit anymore, right?" It's like, yeah, we understand, sorry about that.
Do I have a favorite story that I can tell you on film here?
Yeah, we have a lot of great memories, but of course the year when we won was a special year for us.
We're going up the last beat, last race. Every time we tack, we hear this kind of brrr, boom. Somebody's got a bottle of rum in one of the back lazarettes. That was pretty much gone by the time we hit the shore.
So I remember going underneath the fireboat with the spray. I remember Katie Banks giving us some champagne at the dock.
I remember guys jumping off the spreaders into the water, people in the water, hats in the water, women in the water.
Francesco Bruni, you've done it. After finishing second in the Congressional Cup last year, you have come from behind. The Congressional Cup is now yours.
We are completely drunk, I repeat myself, completely drunk.
And I vaguely remember going up on stage.
Well, the first time I slipped on the Crimson Blazer, it's a little bit of a blur.
I looked up and Rat, one of my crew members, name says it all, he was doing stage dives off the bar.
And Ted shows up and he's got 12 trumpeters with long trumpets with flags under the bottom.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I've never swung off a chandelier in Long Beach, but not to say it didn't happen. We were certainly having a good time.
We actually lost Jerry Kirby for 2 days after that. And nobody knew where he was. He got lost in the airport, and I think he's been found today, but I'm not 100% sure.
And then I remember waking up on an aeroplane in Chicago, and the stewardess knocking me on the shoulder saying, "Sir, you have to get off the plane now and clean your mess up."
We've got a few stories, you know, about being taken out by the hostesses, and then the next day we've got no idea where the car is. I won't mention any names. Susan Mackenbach.
Now, we were in the jacuzzi till 2 o'clock in the morning and sailing the next day.
The members know that the sailors are there to not only race but have a good time, and certainly in Long Beach I've enjoyed many good times.
And looking back on it now, it's still very special, and the people that sail with me, I see the pictures of them, and they're friends to this day.
For sure, a great achievement to win here. This is a so prestigious event. When you have a look at the list of the past winners, you have only big stars of the match racing. So really, it's amazing to have now Mathieu Richard on this list.
I felt very privileged to have been included, and having a chance to win the event really launched my America's Cup career.
It's gone down in history as being one that you have to go to.
In his next match, all guns are blazing. 2 flags! The penalty is offset. Now Bruni has to tack. What a move! Richard drops his Hetzel and goes head to win. Out of bound. The teams are going to go head to win with the spinnakers up and spin around as FERRARESE meets Brady on starboard. Meanwhile, downwind sparks are flying. Penalty for Minoprio, head to win. Spinnakers up in the air, Hetzel's in the water.
It's now a dead standstill. We've been sitting here for 2 minutes flat.
No way.
Bruni pulls off a job just inches from the pier, less than a minute to go.
That was ridiculous.
2 blue flag. Folks, the penalty goes to Coots. Law has tacked. Effectively, he can't finish the turn. They are now past the finish line on the outside. Coots is tacked. Now Law's got his bow in there. Wham! Another collision, and they're hitting the committee boat. 2 flags for Coots. All Law has to do is bear away to win this race, while Russell Coots spins yet another circle.
I think the Congressional Cup is special because of the history of it. You know, it's been around for a long time. Many great sailors have participated in the regatta.
For me, and any sailor that goes and competes at the Congressional Cup, you know it's going to be first rate from start to finish, and that in itself says something about the quality of the competition, quality of the people at the Long Beach Yacht Club and the organization that they set up, and finally the quality of the racing. We've seen a lot of match races in the United States come and go, but the Congressional Cup has always been the stalwart event.
We have 1,000 regular members, we have 110 associate members, and we are extremely proud of our legacy. We're very proud of what we're doing.
It's particularly special with the number of volunteers, the amount that the yacht club gets behind the event.
When you show up, they're all dressed up, they look great, they're so happy to see you. There's a big banner welcome.
Everyone's so welcoming, you get looked after from the minute you arrive in the morning to you arrive back on the dock.
You come in, you had a tough day on the water, and there's 3 people standing there. They got a couple pizzas, they got some beers.
Yeah, it's the club members who make this event what it is.
You get given a couple of hostesses, you know, which seems to work quite well for our team.
You get billeted out with a family, and they're always super excited to have a team stay at their house, and they look after you as if you're their own.
They are adopting us as foreigners, as like their own team. We have a lot of people that is on the pier with flags and yelling for us.
The Congressional Cup family is just a big family.
Many people here at the event have made friends with competitors that come back years later and stay at their houses, even when they're not sailing in the event.
The arena is also super because of the stable wind conditions and good fair match racing that we have here, and a perfect spectator place where people can see down into the boat and see the whole action that the crew perform during the pre-starts.
It's great to come out to Long Beach. You're always, the same boats and reliable conditions all the time.
The race is special, the wind is always very, very good, the boats are good, everything is so good that you just enjoy all the time.
hopefully we'll be able to continue to come back year after year.
And you know, I look forward to going back there and look at something I want to win.
A shout out to all the people at the Long Beach Yacht Club and all the supporters over the years that have done so much. Thanks a lot for some great memories.
Well, to Camille and all the other members of the Long Beach Yacht Club, all the volunteers, we've had a fantastic time every time we've been to Long Beach.
We as sailors appreciate more than we can ever say all the little nuances. So keep it up for another 50 years. Certainly the sport of sailing is better because of it.
I'd like to congratulate the Long Beach Yacht Club for 50 years of successfully running the Congressional Cup. It's spawned great sailors across the world. It's set a very high standard. It's made match racing viable.
You were one of the ones that started the whole concept of opening match racing up to the young sailors of the world, and from one of those sailors that benefited from that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Long Beach Yacht Club. Hey, you know what? I'm a member. Thank you, my yacht club. It's a great place to be and a great event.
Congratulations for 50 years of the greatest match racing regatta in the world.
Yeah, well, to all the Long Beach Yacht Club members, thanks very much for having me. I'll be back there soon. Hopefully I'll be putting that blazer on.
Good luck with the 50th anniversary of the Congressional Cup, and good luck for the next 50 after that.
Wonderful thing you created, because this really made the history of the Long Beach Yacht Club something special and very well deserved, and congratulations should come from the whole sailing world for your forward thinking and vision of something that was very special then and remains very special today, so nice job.
The main reason I came was to see all my good friends and fellow members of the Long Beach Yacht Club. I've been such great friends over the years, and I've missed you, and it's good to see you all again, and really, you don't look that much older.